evening, folks. This is Barry Chamish. I've got a complicated show, and I'm telling you that straight off. Jonathan Levy has been here before, but he's an attorney who takes on cases you've never heard of, and now you're going to hear of them. Turns out that there was an election in Taiwan, also known as the Republic of China, also known as, you know what? We're going to call it Taiwan. Let's make it real simple. It seems they threw out the ruling Kuomintang party, and they stole in 1949 when they left what is now known as the People's Republic of China. They robbed it blind. They took all kinds of gold and they used it as collateral to issue bonds, and they defaulted on the bonds and everyone got cheated. All right, that's the best time. This, by the way, is a new case. May 26th. I mean, it's a matter of days old that apparently, if I'm not mistaken, you are representing the Taiwan Civil Rights Litigation Organization. Did I do that well? Did I summarize it?
Very, very good, Barry. Yes, they threw out the Chinese nationalists, otherwise known as the Kuomintang, Chiang Kai-shek's old party, and they've got the their version of the Democratic Party in there. And things are changing, and you're right. When Chiang Kai-shek left People's Republic of China, he was sure to bring the gold with him, gold reserves of China, which would have been fine, except during the period of one-party governance that lasted a long time in Taiwan, they kind of commingled the what's yours is mine between the Kuomintang party and the government. So a lot of that.
Who issued the bonds?
Well, the bonds go back, my God, they go back to the 1890s, 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, various governments of China. China was a big borrower on the international market for various reasons, and they made payments on those bonds sporadically through 1949. It's not unusual in the bond market for bonds to be hundreds of years old, believe it or not. The English just were talking about retiring some bonds from the Napoleonic Wars. So there you go.
Well, then who are you representing?
Well, we're representing the bondholders as well as victims of the Kuomintang, Chinese nationalists, who were fairly ruthless in enforcing their one-party rule. So we're saying, let's find out where the heck that gold went to, do an audit, and let's divvy it up. I mean, why would you leave it in the hands of the people who you just threw out?
Well, basically, they stole it, no?
They took it, and
Okay.
at some point, it got commingled with the political party and then parceled out to various corporations and banks that were, it was sort of a crony capitalism, as happens in one-party states. So yeah, the gold sort of disappeared.
Well, wait, bonds. Let's understand. They were used. Real gold was used as collateral to issue paper.
That's right. In fact, if you go to eBay today, you can buy these bonds. Some of them go for thousands of dollars. Some are a couple hundred. But if you look at them, and just to look at the pictures, it'll say it's backed by gold. So it'd be like the face value would be, let's say, 20 British pounds backed by gold, interest payable for 40 years at 6%.
Where do you cash them?
We can't cash them. That's the problem. We used to be able to cash them at the bank. A lot of them were sold in the U.S. So right now you can't cash them. You could sell them.
So who'd buy them? Why would somebody buy something you can't cash?
Well, there's speculation value because the accrued interest on these bonds is in the billions of dollars. Also,
I
the
thought
value
they were defaulted.
They are, of course, defaulted. But you're a smart guy. Look at Argentina. Look at African countries. Eventually, sovereign debt gets settled. Eventually.
It does?
Some of it does.
By who, by the way? By who? Who's settling it?
Well, the governments have to settle it. Now, there are some, like Russia, that don't settle. very easily. The People's Republic of China doesn't settle very easily, but others like Argentina do settle. And Taiwan is not a superpower, so they're in a position where they might have to settle these bonds eventually, sooner rather than later, we hope. And usually some kind of agreement or refinancing is worked out with the bondholders. But here we're saying, victims of the Kuomintang party should also be compensated, not just speculators.
All right, now this is complicated, so we won't get lost. You unsuccessfully litigated for gold bonds before the change of government, and you're starting again. What's your strategy this time? What's the new game here?
Yeah, we sued in federal court in San Francisco, and we won a default against the Kuomintang party. And the federal judge then inexplicably decided, wait a minute, too much time has gone by, so we're going to toss this. We don't want to get involved.
Well, why should
So
a Chinese government give a damn what a San Francisco court says?
Well, that's interesting. We sued actually the political party, and as it turned out, they own a lot of property in the U.S., a fair amount of property of value. So we traced some of it to Chinatown in San Francisco. So they had assets. They definitely had assets. So here we're saying not the government, but the former political party, former ruling party, which has the ill-gotten gains. They should be the ones to pay everyone off, not the government.
Well, first of all, um, this is now confusing. What are you going to do? Hold their property um, in in escrow until the gold is returned? I mean, this is very complicated.
It is, and there's a lot of people out there who hold these gold-backed bonds still, and they place various values on them. Some of the values are quite fantastic. I think they should be settled at some multiple of face value. But if you tacked on all the accrued interest since 1949, plus how the gold is, of course, increased from whatever it was in 1949 till today, you get some fantastic sums. But we're looking, that we know there's a couple $1 billion in gold reserves that were dispersed by the Chinese nationalists to
Well, you're
various.
claiming it was a five. I don't know what, but approximately 5,000. I guess that's gold bonds. I have to guess here, but were sold over the New York Stock Exchange.
Yes. Well, actually, the New York Stock Exchange, so our bondholders hold 5,000 bonds that you can trade on the New York Stock Exchange Euronext, which is the Paris Stock Exchange owned by the New York Stock Exchange. They trade today, so they're not like these are wallpaper or decorations. These are legitimate trading bonds. And like I said, there's bonds that are far older. Napoleonic War bonds are still out there. The British, I don't think they retired all of them. Bonds from the South Sea Bubble, which I think goes back to the 17th century. The English government is still paying debt on that. So
To who? To who?
to people who hold these antique
300
documents.
years later?
Yes, absolutely. The government of Haiti, for example, paid the French for about 100 years of reparations. There's all these kind of strange financial arrangements that go on. But when you think about it. People, for example, buy bonds, they sock them away in the safe deposit box, and they might not have emerged for 50 or 70 years. And you can probably cash a goodly number of those.
All right, this is probably almost a foreign language to many of my listeners. Certainly, it's very, very confusing to me. You're suing the former government of Taiwan,
That's right.
and you're suing them to sequester Tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, you're right. We want the finance minister, the new finance minister, because they know where the gold is and the assets. Go in there and
Do
take it.
they? Do they?
Yeah, they
Do
do.
they?
They do. They've identified at least $1 billion in various accounts owned by the Chinese Nationalist Party alone. They know where some of that is, and they should go in there, seize it, and hold it until this thing's sorted out. I mean, why would you let your enemy, your opponent, run away with the money? Now you've got the chance to go for it.
Okay, a little confusing again. This is a new government. Um, as I understand, why should they go to any court and why go through the headache?
Well, they could certainly dispatch their opponent. Their main opponent is the Chinese Nationalist Party. If you took away their funds, that would certainly level the playing field a bit, for starters. And secondly, a lot of that funding would go to compensate Taiwanese who had opposed the Chinese nationalists and in many cases were killed or imprisoned.
Now, how do they get into the picture?
Here's what happened. Taiwan, and of course there's been other lawsuits that I've been peripherally involved in. Taiwan, the status of Taiwan is very tricky. We all know that there's two Chinas, right? The People's Republic of China and Taiwan. And the People's
Okay.
Republic of China claims Taiwan. What people don't realize is that there really is nothing called Taiwan. Taiwan is called the Republic of China, which is the government of China that went into exile there in 1949. And guess what?
Aren't they the good guys?
They
Uh,
were allied until Nixon went to China and took away their seat at the UN, and since then they've been a bit of a pariah. But they claim that they're the government of China, that they own the mainland and they own Tibet and they own parts of Russia and Mongolia and parts of India and all sorts of stuff. They have very expansive claims. So Taiwan
aren't
claims.
they scratching a giant?
Well, you would think so. You would think so, Barry, but that's the legal part of it. They each claim each other, and then the Taiwanese people themselves, the ones that didn't come over from the mainland in 1949, are saying, "Get out of here. We want our own country called Taiwan. We don't want to be Republic of China or People's Republic of China." So
Do you
there's new.
back them? I notice you're representing a group of Taiwan civil rights litigation organization, so you're on their side then.
Yes, I mean, we ultimately the solution here is Taiwan should be Taiwan. It's neither the Republic of China nor the People's Republic of China. You just have
Now
a
the
country
gold
called
that was
Taiwan.
now the gold that was, I think, stolen and taken to Taiwan was stolen from the big China. Uh, why should they have any role in this?
Well,
They were robbed. Weren't they
they
robbed?
were the People's Republic of China. And depending again whose side you're on, there can say that was our gold. But remember, the People's Republic of China got to keep all the things that were financed by the bonds. So all the railways and other capital projects that the bonds paid for stayed over there in mainland China. And mainland China, People's Republic, hasn't had to make any payments on those bonds.
I think I understand.
So they come out okay. The key here is, and it goes into a lot of theories. There's a lot of stories, Barry, of fabulous wealth, hordes of wealth over there in East Asia. And, this Guomindang gold is part of it, the gold from China. There's talk of fabulous treasure that the Chinese took out of the Dutch Indies and the Philippines and China that's never been accounted for. So keep in mind, it's a bigger issue than just some gold that the Guomindang got their hands on. It's a huge treasure hunt going on over there for years. Indonesia, same thing. I mean, when the Japanese went in there, they, of course, they
Wait a
got.
second. This gold isn't it's not in Taiwan.
I
So
don't think so. I think this gold
then
was
what are
just.
you sequestering?
Well, bank accounts, Barry. There's cash that was derived from this. The gold
All
was
right.
probably the gold was
Let's do
probably sent
this.
to the U.S.
Let's do this. In whose account was money from this stolen gold placed?
Ah,
Who got the dough?
Chinese Nationalist Party, known as the Kuomintang.
And is that bad?
And yes, because it wasn't theirs. It belonged to either the Republic of China or the People's Republic of China or the bondholders. And we're also saying probably to the victims of the Kuomintang as well. So it's what we call in the law unjust enrichment. Unjust enrichment.
Well, enrichment by theft. But once again, where are you taking this to be litigated? Where's the justice coming from?
Well, right. That's where we've approached the new government of Taiwan and asked the finance minister. In fact, they have a branch of the.
Shoo you jur.
That's right. We
Right.
and we've asked him to sequester those accounts. Let's get it seized, and then let's sort it out. Let's do an accounting. Let's see who's owed what. But by God, let's take it away from the people who stole it. And that may actually, the way things are interconnected over there in the Far East, that may start to sort out some of these other issues. Follow, as you know, follow the gold, right? May lead to a lot of things.
Like what?
Well, I think that once you start pulling these accounts, you'd be very surprised who ends up on the other side of those and who starts making claims. For example, we know the physical gold itself was probably taken to the U.S., wasn't sent to the Federal Reserve, probably to Chase Manhattan or one of the large banks that had a relationship with the former Bank of China, which is now called Mega Bank. So the gold's still around somewhere too. It'll lead to the usual
Well, it's in
suspects.
somebody's hands who probably doesn't want to give it up.
That's true. But if you can convince a government to start scratching around and start, seizing some accounts, you can probably get some answers fairly quick.
I think this is a treasure hunt. I mean, it requires Columbo to get this
Oh
one.
yes.
So,
Yeah. Oh, it is a treasure hunt, and from what we know from other sovereign bond defaults, these things go on for quite a while. Argentina, that one has been partially settled, but it's going on, and other ones do get settled. If you can get a court order, you can seize property that belongs to various countries. But we want to shortcut all that and just say, hey, new government of Taiwan, let's get to the bottom of this lingering issue over gold and bonds.
all right, you've approached the new, I guess, president, prime minister. What's the new ruler of the Republic of China called?
Well, that's the president, but we've approached
President. Okay.
we've approached the finance minister. We were told actually by the Kuomintang government last year to go to the finance minister, and we waited because we probably thought that the government might be changing, and we were betting on that, which it did, because we didn't think the Kuomintang
All right.
itself was going to give up
You
its own.
went to the finance minister. What did you have over him? We'll
Well,
take you to your own courts. I mean,
yeah, yeah. I mean, some here, as I said before, we're an enemy of their enemy. So, what's the best way to take out your opponent? Take away their money.
is, frankly, between us, do you have a chance?
I think so. I think there's actually a very good chance. And remember too, I did represent the former president of China, Chen Shui-bian, who
Of which
briefly
China?
was
The big
of
China
Taiwan.
or
No,
of
little old
Taiwan?
China.
Okay, I
Yes,
gotcha.
he's in prison right now, but he actually is from the same party, and he did rule until the Kuomintang got control back. He's locked up now on various charges, but
That
uh,
would
bef-
be President Tsai Ing-wen. No, that's the new
no,
president.
no, the one, yeah, the old one was Chen Shui-bian, and he actually signed an affidavit for us, which sort of goes to the very bottom of this thing, saying that, well, he was the president of Taiwan, but he always took his orders from the U.S. interest section over there.
So
So,
you're saying the KMT is in the background, holding the money, waiting to come back in power, and
right?
you are going to subpoena their records.
We're,
Do I
well,
have?
we're going to seize. We're asking the government to seize their assets, and then let's do a forensic accounting and find out where the rest of the money or the gold is, and let's get it back to who it belongs to, whether it's bondholders or other individuals it's been seized from, or victims who should be compensated. That very simple.
I'm worried about you. Do you have someone compensating you for all this trouble? It sounds like a lot.
Well, we take on these cases. I mean, that's what we do. And as you know, we take them on, and we take them on long term.
By the way, you are Brimstone and Company, just to plug you. You'll get another plug after the commercial break, and people will. And if someone is interested in this, you'll contact him. But I'm going to ask you once again: if I were Tsai Ing-wen, I would just ignore you.
Well, it's possible, but again, they never know what I'm going to pull out of my back pocket. I mean, we also have a affidavit from the former trying to think, former Supreme Court Justice, former Minister of Justice under a previous government, saying yes, by all means, go after the Guomindang for this money. So there's a lot of
I'm going to
things that are
ask again:
surfacing.
where are you? I'm going to say it again. Where is there a court that has the power over this government to actually rule, and the ruling will make a difference?
Well, there is actually Taiwan, Republic of China, has an interesting form of government. It's got a judicial branch, an executive branch, the president, a legislative branch, and an audit branch called the Control Yuan, Yuan. So, and that you see that same kind of division in the European
Do
Union
they have a
itself.
court?
They have they have
One,
they
I
have an
believe.
actual no, they have an actual branch of the government called the audit branch, which has the power to do these things. So
Now, a
I
one
would
is their
expect,
currency, right?
not Taiwan. I think it might be the Taiwan dollar.
All right. So you can go to them, and somehow you can book time with the judge who will rule, and the ruling will mean something.
Exactly, because they have a branch of the government itself that audits the government. That's a little bit foreign to us in the U.S. because we only have three branches of government. There they have four, an audit branch. So the idea here is to get the finance minister to say either to respond one way or the other. And then we take it back to the auditors, and if the finance ministry won't do it, then demand an audit.
All right. Let's say you demanded the audit. Who exactly is doing the auditing?
Ah,
Look, is there a
the
court or not? Are
no,
you
no,
have you
it's
got a
a
judge or not?
no, it's an administrative. It would be an administrative action. So this time we're not going to the courts. We're going to do it administratively.
When we get back, we're going to go through. Taiwan is claiming that they don't have to do a thing until they're
Hmm.
reunited with the mainland, which, who even knows what reunited means? Um, uh, you're saying that officially they don't have to do it.
Um, no, but the solution. It's a good point. Their law says that these bonds exist, but they don't have to deal with them until the mainland issue is decided.
Right.
However,
So,
right.
yeah.
However, what we're saying is you
Oh,
don't need to do that. You don't need to do it.
we have to take 3 minutes. And people, if you're as confused as, you know what? I think we're doing pretty good on a pretty difficult issue, okay? That's between us. We'll come back, plug each other, and there's a couple of other minor issues, but I can't tell. You know what? I think we're doing good. I'll see you in 3 minutes.
Visit crosstheborder.org crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the Left Behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Oh, hello, folks. This is Barry Chamish being very challenged by this week's issue. It's a brand new issue, May 26th. It's like less than a week old. Look, the fact that I'm here is miraculous. I have a new computer. I don't know how it works properly. My whole life has been really, really upset, and I have this issue with my website. But folks, all my books are at lulu.com. That's www.lulu.com. There's a search box right in my last name, Chamish. Chamish. And my website is barrychamish.com. My latest article isn't up, and I'm very, very upset. It's too much for one little person to handle. But that's it, lulu.com, Chamish. All right, Jonathan Levy, tell people how to get a hold of you, then we'll hit your other issues and try and make them as lively as heck.
All right. Well, you can catch me. Just do a search for me, Jonathan Levy, Brimstone and Company, and you'll get me. Brimstone.
That's it?
That's it.
No
That's
website?
it.
There's
Oh, you can go to www.brimstoneandcompany.com and get me there too. But I'm easy to find.
All right, let's go. Again, this is very foreign to me. Now, recently, Tsai was elected. You were very hopeful, but now this, I don't even understand what the controversy is. Her acceptance of the Chinese Taipei label has perturbed you. I don't even know what that means. Why is that a problem?
Well, of course, there's a lot of problem over there as to what you call Taiwan. If you call it Republic of China, which is its official name, not only is the People's Republic of China outraged, right, the big China, the Taiwanese don't like it because they feel they're under occupation by the people who came over there in 1949, they call it the exile government of Republic of China. If you call it Taiwan, the Kuomintang, the people who came over there in 1949 get upset, as does the People's Republic of China.
What's on their stamps?
I think it says Republic of China, if I'm not mistaken. Because that's the official name of the country, Republic of China.
And she accepted Taipei, which you apparently to you is a major, a surrender of something.
Yeah, that I think has to do with the World Health Organization, which is one of the few international organizations that allow Taiwan to be a member. And and the Olympics, it's always what do they call it? Because if you call it Taiwan or Republic of China, the People's Republic has a fit. So I think that's one of the compromises.
What's on their uniforms? What do the runners? What does it say in the front of the runners' uniform?
I don't know, but what I can tell you is this: the official name of the government is the Republic of China. That's what it's called, and the current president.
That's a long name for, it's really a mouthful.
Well, they call China. I mean, and they claim to be China. The current president, she is the president of the Republic of China, no matter what they call it, and they still claim the mainland. And the mainland claims them, and that. So
aren't they going to be stomped?
No, no, it's going to be worked out. It's got to be worked out at some point, and then therein is the reason why these billions of dollars of bonds will be settled, because the law of the Republic of China, the law of Taiwan, says when the issue with mainland China is settled, the bonds come due, and you know who'd have to pay them? The people of Taiwan, who had nothing to do with the borrowing of the money in the first place.
They had a lot to do. This is a point I'm going to... it's a small point, but you're saying you're differentiating between the people of Taiwan and the Kuomintang, who actually stole the gold bonds.
That's right.
The people didn't authorize it. Are you kidding? Without them, there would have been no government.
Now, Barry, I thought you knew your history better. Who owned Taiwan between 1895 and 1945?
Tell me.
Japan. As part of the Kingdom of Japan.
Like everyone knows that. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's
how did they break away from Japan? Let's do a little history. In 1945, this was 4 years before the Communist Revolution. So what happened in 1945? The Americans booted them out after the war.
Yeah, the Americans went over there and booted out the Japanese, said, Japanese, you have to evacuate Taiwan. And our allies are the Chiang Kai-shek and the Kuomintang will occupy Taiwan. And that's what happened. Taiwan went under military occupation by the Republic of China. And then it was supposed to be sorted out when they signed the peace treaty with Japan. Well, in the meantime, in 1949, Chiang Kai-shek gets kicked out of China, and where does he go? He goes to Taiwan, that he's already occupying. And then by the time the Treaty of the Pacific is signed, it takes a while. Treaties, 1952, with Japan, we're in the middle of the Korean War, and nobody wants to deal with who owns Taiwan, so it's kind of just omitted from the peace treaty with Japan.
So all this gold floating around the island, which I would assume the people derive some benefit from, look, they were terribly indifferent to this leadership, which is why I have a little beef with you. If they wanted them out, they could have expressed some opposition.
Yeah, they did. And there was a period of time called the White Terror when people who opposed Chiang Kai-shek were executed by the thousands. So they did try to boot out the nationalist Chinese, and they failed. There was an uprising. And that was put down with a lot of brutality, and then a one-party dictatorship under Chiang Kai-shek and then his successors went into effect until the 1980s, late 1980s.
Well, when I was growing up, Mao was the monster, and Chiang Kai-shek was, our ally. I mean, we liked him, I thought.
Well, we sort of liked him, and then Nixon stabbed him in the back and said, whoops, went to China, played ping pong, and suddenly there was the old switcheroo there. And they gave
what was his reaction?
Well, I'm pretty sure the Taiwanese were upset, and they started losing all their diplomatic recognition until today.
They spent 2 centuries building up.
Right. Well, they lost all their a few little islands recognize them now who have their palms greased, like St. Kitts or something like that will recognize the Republic of China. The Vatican recognizes the Republic of China.
Really? That's of some interest. St. Kitts, it has another island, St. Kitts and something else, but it's really a nothing place.
That's right.
The Vatican isn't.
The Vatican isn't, and that probably is the most significant country that still recognizes Republic of China, and that is a bone of contention with the People's Republic of China. So why would the people of Taiwan be saddled with this bill that was run up from the mainland, brought over by Chiang Kai-shek, and his cronies derived the benefit of this gold, not the people of Taiwan?
Does anyone know you're doing this in Taiwan?
Yes, it is a known issue in Taiwan. And the Chinese also follow it because they ultimately do not want to get stuck with this debt either, the mainland Chinese. So, when I do the radio show on this, I always get a few emails, people who drag these gold bonds out of the safe deposit box, because you'd be surprised people hang on to these things.
I would indeed. All right, now what we're talking about, I think, is there's an issue in probably not mainland China. I would imagine this is all Taiwan. I'm guessing. If mainland China, I mean, the gold began in mainland China, but they weren't responsible for looting it. They don't really have to pay it back, do they?
No, they say the Kuomintang criminals are the ones who should pay it back, and I agree with that. The mainland said, look, you stole our gold, so we're not going to, thank you very much for letting us keep the railways, but which are over here anyway, and whatever else that, the bonds paid for, but we're not going to pay for these things. And they're correct. But again, the people of Taiwan shouldn't pay for it either. And that's why I think the government there, now that the Kuomintang is out, is ultimately going to agree.
You're actually going to say the KMT, that's what you...
Right.
The Kuomintang. It's a lot easier, actually. You're saying that they're crony capitalists, are rich as hell, now they got to pay the price.
That's right.
Oh, good. I'm getting it. That wasn't simple, by the way. All right. In short, you want the thieves to pay.
That's right. Let's get the money back from the people who stole it and make things right with bondholders and others who deserve some compensation.
And between us, no one has to hear this, but between us, what do you think the odds are?
I would say they're a heck of a lot better with this new government in there than the Kuomintang itself. Now, and so I think the odds are there. I mean, they're quantifiable at this point, whereas before they were probably not very probable.
What's the Free Taiwan Party? Another name that we've never heard before. What is the Free Taiwan Party?
Well, there are people in Taiwan who don't, as I said, they don't want to be called Republic of China. They don't want to be People's Republic of China. They want to be the Republic of Taiwan. Now, what the People's Republic has said is, if that were to happen, they're going to attack.
Attack who?
Attack Taiwan. If Taiwan declares independence, now mind you, they're already independent.
I don't understand. Aren't they in Taiwan?
Well, this is. But remember, you have Taiwan's government is called the Republic of China, and the Republic of China claims it is the legitimate government of China. There is a large number of Taiwanese who don't want to be in that position. They just want to be Republic of Taiwan, and that apparently is even worse from the standpoint of the People's Republic of China. They don't want an independent Taiwan that has nothing to do with China.
Do they have any global? Do they have an electorate?
Yes, I think if the issue were put to the people, the problem is it's such a hot potato that the U.S. would go in there and put the kibosh on it. Because it would literally start a war. And I think
between who and who? Now this is internal.
Yeah, they would be invaded by the People's Republic of China. I mean, there would literally be all.
You said that wouldn't happen.
If they declared themselves independent as the Republic of Taiwan, you'd have a war in East Asia, and the U.S. would then be forced to decide whether it was going to intervene or leave the Taiwanese to their own devices.
Is this your opinion, or do you really? I'm going to say this again. Let's say the island of Taiwan declared itself independent. You would say that would be enough motivation for the big giant to attack them?
Well, they've said that the big giant makes no secret and says that's what they will do if that happens. And then the U.S. has kind of mumbled something or other about it will defend its friends, but under the current administration, I wouldn't put any bets on that.
Well, it's going very shortly, but that's neither here nor there. You're painting I'm not sure they could hold out for more than an hour.
It would be pretty bad, but that's why it hasn't happened. But
I'm going to add something. You're saying this Free Taiwan Party, which I assume is located in Taiwan, they want to take down statues of Chiang Kai-shek in public spaces. Now, why would you want to take away nice statues of a former leader?
Well, because they consider themselves under occupation by the Chinese from the mainland who came over there in 1949. They would like to make a clean break with China.
Is this for real?
It's for real, and it's certainly the reason why my client, Mr. Chen Shui-bian's in prison, not for money laundering, but for probably being an outspoken person who wanted to declare independence. And he was told by the U.S. if he did it, that's all. The show was over.
All right. Now, we've got a very interesting and expanded discussion right now. You said your client. This is someone who is... You're his actual attorney?
My former client, we filed actually a few years back when he was sent to prison a writ with the U.S. Military Court of Appeals, the highest. It's actually a court that's on co-equal status with the U.S. Supreme Court, so the highest military court in the United States, which not too many people know about.
He's in an American prison?
No, he's in prison in Taiwan, and his position was that Obama, as commander-in-chief, needed to order the Taiwanese government to release him because, as the president of China, he said, China is really under military occupation of the U.S. because the U.S. designated the Republic of China the occupying power. That's never been sorted out. So ultimately, the U.S. calls the shots there. And he said when he was president, if he wanted to do something and the U.S. didn't like it, they sent him a message and overruled him.
So was he imprisoned for?
Money laundering, allegedly.
Do you believe it?
No, I really don't, especially because he was prosecuted by the Kuomintang, which are the biggest money launderers and drug dealers in the Far East.
He was the president, right? We're not making a mistake here of Taiwan.
No, he was the first non-Kuomintang president in the
How long did that last?
He was in for 2 terms. No, I'm trying to think. If he was in for at least 1 term, and I think he probably got squeaked in there on the 2nd term. But
it was accepted because this was a corruption scandal, and he was caught, and justice was served.
It's more like the Kuomintang clawing its way back into power. He should have took their money away, is what he should have done, and this is what this new president of Taiwan should do: take away the Kuomintang's money.
Why? She's looking at what he's doing. Why would she? Between us, okay? Between us. Why should she? It's really risky.
It is, but look what happens if the Kuomintang gets it back into power. They will take retribution upon their opponents.
I'll bet you prison is no fun there.
It isn't, and I believe he might be out on medical parole, but it was in there for years. And like I said, we took it to the U.S. Military Court of Appeals, and guess what they said, Barry?
What?
They said dismissed. That's it. We got a 1-sentence or a 3-sentence decision. You are dismissed.
They didn't take you seriously.
They took it seriously.
You off.
Yeah, they took it seriously, all right, but they weren't going to go anywhere with that one. Now, the Kuomintang government took it serious. They tried to impose treason charges on my client.
All right.
Because he had said he was a U.S. agent.
This is, once again, he's sitting in prison for how long, by the way?
He's been there a while. Like I said, I think he might be out on kind of like medical role at this point.
You weren't a good attorney
I didn't defend him on the internal charges, just over in the U.S. there. So, however, watch these things. Taiwan is the real powder keg over there in the Far East. That is where the action could be.
I think we did very well. This is an extremely... just reading it was very difficult. Following it. You've sorted it out a lot. And I will watch Taiwan. And once again, if it ever decides that it wants to be Taiwan, free Taiwan, you've got a world war, or you've got a major power attacking it.
It would. The U.S. would have to decide if it's going to defend its traditional ally over there or let the People's Republic step in.
Oh, gosh. There's one last topic. And by the way, we did well, I think.
You did. You did very well.
We'll get... I get people writing me after every show, and... if I don't know how I did with this, but they'll tell me. Now, I have to add one last thing, and you added this. Working on stuff against Muslim International Court prosecutor who will not indict ISIS, Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda for war crimes. I don't even know what a Muslim International Court is.
Well, the International Criminal Court, Barry, that's the court that was set up by the UN to prosecute genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity, right? We're never going to have another Holocaust.
All right. Where's the Muslim part?
Well, that court, it's been around since 2002, and they've had like 3 convictions of really minor warlords over there in Africa. But it should be a very relevant court because you have ISIS broiling people alive, baking them, lighting them on fire, blowing them up.
You can
destroying.
trace that back to America, and there's a real problem. You can trace it back to Israel.
You,
Some
you
something called
could,
Debka did.
and you should have that criminal court should go in there. But the problem is, and of course you have Muslims running riot throughout Africa, Boko
Yep.
Haram, Al Shabaab. They put a Muslim in as the chief prosecutor, an African Muslim, Fatou Bensouda, and she hasn't prosecuted anyone except some guy that kicked over some gravestones in Timbuktu, and she's some Muslim prophets, and that's a war crime.
Okay, let's say you indicted some ISIS military leader, made him stand trial. What can happen to him? Where would he go? Who would imprison him?
Well, they have prisons. They have a prison system. That's not a problem. The Europeans farm out these people to their various prisons. They'd send them up to Norway somewhere and put them in prison. I mean, it wouldn't be all that bad. But I mean, they have a system. But what would come out would in the course of the trial would be who's behind ISIS.
Who's behind the world being stirred up? And I'm worried stiff for my people. This stirring is beyond our eyesight, but there's a stirring going on in the background, and it worries me sick.
You should be worried. That's why they put a Muslim prosecutor in there to neuter that court. I'm a member of that court's bar, and I'm outraged. I mean, why would you do that? They more or less destroyed the hope of humanity that we're not going to have.
Well,
genocide.
how do you get an unbiased prosecutor? Between us.
Well, come on. You can find people who are competent prosecutors. You don't bring in the former Minister of Justice of the dictatorship of the Islamic Republic of Gambia and appoint her the chief prosecutor. That's kind of like Robert Mugabe being head of the African Union, which he is. So, but that's what they did. That's what they did.
That's what you answered, and that's a good answer. So, in short, you're working on stuff against this court, like what?
Well, I've started a movement that trying to petition to get her out of there, and at least as a member of that court, as a member of that court's bar, trying to, wave the flag here and say, look, that you need to indict ISIS for war crimes. Why isn't this Muslim prosecutor doing her job?
You know what? One more time, give your address. This may be of interest to somebody out there. Your address, please.
You can get me at brimstoneandcompany.com. www.brimstoneandcompany.com.
You have to start again. You repeated that 3 times. What a long name.
It is. I should shorten that.
I think you should make it like BMS or something.
Something like that. You're probably right.
Right.
Someone counterfeited my website just last week. Took me a lot of threats and an FBI report to get it down. Someone had a fake Brimstone website up there, was posing as me.
Really?
Yes.
You know, the internet in general is becoming incredibly I got bombed. All right? I got 6,000 fake emails a day until I no longer had a computer. You don't have to hear mine. But it's very unreliable nowadays. It really is. Listen, I want to say, Dr. Jonathan Levy, as usual, we did it. A very complicated subject today. I think everyone agrees, and I think we did pretty darn good. We come back in 7 minutes, by the way, with Robert Morningstar. We'll see you in 7. Thank you, Jonathan.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the Left Behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.